I call Catherine Delahunty.
Speaker, it's good to speak in favour of this bill. I'd like to acknowledge Claire Curran for her efforts on behalf of us all, actually, because it's actually really important that we all have a level of protection that currently doesn't exist. And there is a sorry list of privacy breaches in the state sector which needs to be rectified, and we are in a brave new world, but it's not very brave or satisfactory for many people whose privacy details have been exposed through a number of debacles and breaches. And in fact, when the last speaker was speaking about nasty little hackers, I thought she was talking about Cameron Slater, who does actually fulfil that criteria as being quite an unpleasant person in the way he talks about other people. I am going to defend the right of people to talk about important issues, and I do think that Nikki Haga is a citizen who brings issues into the light, which is quite different from exposing privacy. We actually need to know what's going on in our country. We need journalists who can do that. We also need protection, and that's why this bill is important, because the vulnerable who are in relationship with the state with the private details of their own very personal circumstances sometimes need protection. So this electronic data safety bill establishes a special commission of inquiry, and it was inspired by the Ministry of Social Development kiosk privacy breach. And I think we were all pretty horrified at the ease with which Keith Ning was able to access this through a very simple system, basically through an open file. Now, I have some sympathy for people working in government departments who make mistakes with technology, because I'm sure that if I worked there, I'd be one of those people. But what we need is rigorous oversight, excellent modern systems, and we need to have a commission such as suggested here to really set up a decent framework so this cannot keep happening to ordinary people. And I'm speaking here not as an expert in this technology, which is definitely Gareth Hughes and not myself. I'm speaking here as the human rights spokesperson, because actually the human rights of citizens who are engaging with departments such as Ministry of Social Development and Work and Income and ACC really need to know that when they sit in a room and tell someone a story about themselves and give their very personal and sometimes extremely traumatising details to that person, whether it's Work and Income or ACC, that they will actually stay private. That those very personal traumatic stories that people find it hard enough to tell in order to get some support, which the state actually should support them with, it's very, very scary if then that becomes part of the public domain. And what was scary about what happened with the ministry was that, with social development, is they had an utterly inadequate process in place. It wasn't protecting the confidential details. The full names of children, for example, in the high and complex needs program was exposed. And I don't see how that's beneficial to those children, let alone the rest of us. There was a list exposed of everyone who owns who owed the ministry money, which is pretty extraordinary, because it's so easy to make assumptions about this kind of stuff without knowing the background. And there was addresses for their family homes and care protection facilities for the SIPS family homes. Now that is the kind of information in the wrong hands that is really damaging. Also, although there was an independent investigation by Deloitte, and they found some pretty serious things, that wasn't really sufficient, because it was damning about governance, and it showed that security wasn't being consistently considered, but it also showed that there needed some more investigation and that it was pervasive across government departments. So what government departments, you might ask? Well, I have mentioned Ministry of Social Development and ACC. ACC in particular, 6,500 client details were able to be accessed. And that's people who have been victims of not just accidents at work in the conventional sense, but victims of sexual violence, people who've experienced extremely traumatic experiences. Nova Pay was also another one. Teachers' details were available to previous employers and to other schools. Now there's a proper process for that. It's called the Teachers' Council, but this was actually through insufficient internet care, insufficient protection. And then of course Work and Income. So to add to that, there was the EQC, there were breaches of thousands of client details, Ministry for the Environment, 150 clients' private email addresses. So I could go on and on, but the Speaker is indicating that I should not. But we support this bill because this stuff is ripe, it's rampant, and it's not okay, and we need to do something about it. So we support Claire Curran's efforts.